Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q episode 94. My name is Red, I'm joined by Mel.
Help, they put me in the Ultra 7 OP dimension.
I know. That was a very Ultra 7 episode. They also got the bubbles.
Yeah, it's true. There was a lot of bubbles in that episode.
Someone came onto the team and said, okay, so they'd cryogenically frozen a special effects guy in the middle of Ultra 7 and defrosted him in the middle of Leo, and he came out and said, okay, so bubbles all the time, right? What? I've got the bubble machine, boss.
It's only been 7
also
years.
Joined, yeah. Oh, yeah. Also joined by Brad.
Dan Moriboshi gets dangerously close to recreating Problems Clown, but with boomerangs in one of these episodes.
That is very true. God, he is the Problems Clown.
He really is.
Moriboshi Dan, the Problems Clown.
Driving you out to the Toei quarry for quote unquote trading. It's actually to whack you.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. So we watched 3 more episodes of Ultraman Leo. More ridiculous shit this week. We're gonna get to that. In the meantime, what have we been up to? I'm not gonna go first this time.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I have a really small thing.
Go for it.
Yeah, I finished a first season of a show called SeaQuest DSV.
This is that one that you posted the clip where William Shatner sees a dolphin?
Yeah. Do you want to know what the plot of that episode is?
Yes.
So William Shatner is playing an escaped from prison Yugoslav warlord, ethnic cleanser guy.
Oh.
And through the power of dolphin magic, he redeems himself because the dolphin magic cures his kid's autism.
What?
TV is so special.
So anyway, this is a show that comes out in the 90s. So first of all, that may inform some of the geopolitical positions the show takes, on top of just being US TV, but also it's like this is me extremely speaking from I have not seen this show. It's definitely coming out in in the shadow of Star Trek TNG, except this show is like, what if instead of the space we went to the ocean?
Oh,
yeah.
It's SeaQuest is those guys going, why are we always exploring this? There's so
Yeah,
much the ocean hasn't been
Let me tell
explored.
you, there's an episode about that.
Of course there is.
Basically, like, it's about
to listen to those people. Stop exploring. Calm down.
No, I think they should go see the... I
the
think
Titanic.
all those people should really go see the Titanic. I
Yeah.
ordered the Logitech controller for them.
in their personalized submarine specifically.
Yeah, I ordered them the Logitech controller. It's all good.
The fucking...
Char at Darfur. I think they should all go explore the Titanic.
God damn.
Original Gundam would be so much better if James Cameron was off in the corner giving news reports. Garmazabi is just, I told him not to do it.
Maybe that's what's happening in G-Cucks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
James Cameron needs to be in just random fiction as a talking head. I would appreciate this a lot, actually.
Just like Randall Shatner is randomly in the TV.
Yeah, Kaishi Den should have him on his show.
Yeah, basically the show is like it's like, the post Federation Earth and a new age of peace, because I guess the end of history happened. Except not really, because it's still like conflicts and stuff like that. But then they commissioned this like multi-kilometer wide submarine, because like now they're exploring the oceans and are colonizing the oceans and extracting resources. A specific terminology, colonize. And like the guy who pitched the idea is like a guy retired military guy, Captain Nathan Bridger, played by Roy Schneider, the guy from Jaws. He's like basically being a hobo on some island in the start of episode 1, but gets roped into being the captain of the ship, even though he's like, oh, I left the military after my son died in some unspecified way. But he gets roped into being like the captain of this crew, and they do like all the things you'd expect of like rescue missions, and also there's like a geopolitical shenanigans happening in this world, and also he has a friend dolphin named Darwin, and there's like a boy genius, Lucas, on the ship who like invents a device that lets him talk to the dolphin. Lucas is a pretty good character, I'd say. He's got depth and stuff. He's like not just an obnoxious version of the teenage genius kind of thing. He's a real character. I'd say that the cast is pretty appealing on the whole. You got a good collection of guys, like the goofy guy, the serious guy, etc., etc. And the plots of the episodes themselves are pretty eye rolling because it's extreme end of history 90s U.S. liberalism stuff. Like one episode where they're like the Mars mission came back with fossil samples from Mars, and there's like the interpersonal drama between Captain Bridger and like his friend who's the space guy, who's like, damn, they're giving all the money to the space guys and not getting enough money to us, the sea guys. And meanwhile, the Martian mission crash lands off the coast of Southeast Asia, where the quote-unquote Montagnard Confederation is like doing something. And I'm like, I don't know why you named it that French word. I don't think they'd like that. And then there's like the conflict is like the very nice and liberal president is like, oh, I think we should be good about this. And meanwhile, the very evil and corrupt military guy is like, oh, those imperialists are coming. And I'm like, okay, guys. And I think it's definitely like a don't think about it too hard and turn your brain off kind of show. And then you see the characters you kind of get attached to bounce off each other in these very silly situations, while also the writers of the show write plots about how great it is to be America, I guess. In that way that American TV does. And yeah, it's I don't think there's a lot of deep thoughts to have about it. It's just it's a decent time.
The 90s are so dolphin pilled.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, there's the multiple episodes of the show dedicated to like what if dolphins do have psychic powers or can see things we can't.
They're on that John C. Lilly shit.
It of course Gundam X has dolphin nuke types. Of course it does.
When's Flipper? It's because there's the 60s series Flipper, but the movie Flipper, I imagine, is the newer movie.
I wonder
Flipper,
if that was also a thing in the 60s, and
90s.
that's why Douglas Adams did that.
It's possible.
When was the John C. Lilly? Are you too familiar with that stuff?
No.
John C. Is this the
mid 1950s? It looks like
mid 1950s. I know about the experiments with the dolphin. Yes, I know about the John C. Lilly thing. Yes,
yeah.
The psychedelic dolphin on LSD.
Yes.
Stuff.
And like trying to get a woman to befriend the dolphin.
Oh, like Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, but it gets much weirder.
It gets much weirder.
It gets much weirder.
Life is stranger than fiction.
Yeah. They shouldn't have done that shit.
They really shouldn't have.
I mean, they also did MK Ultra. There's a lot of things they shouldn't have done.
This is true.
But they did have to defeat the communists at all costs. Obviously.
Absolutely. Thank God.
Yeah. Think of how good the world is right now because they defeated the communists.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the plot of SeaQuest DSV, except not really.
It's very funny to me that you have watched this, and I don't. Have you ever watched any Star Trek?
No.
I. This is very good.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that this
Shane
weekend...
also commented. Shane from the Orcus Pod also commented how funny it was that this specific situation happened.
I almost clicked play on the first episode of the original series this weekend, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to commit to this right now.
Yeah, that's me. I'm like, I
isn't
definitely
even good. It's
Nice.
I wanna do it at some point, but I'm also like, I need the time.
I feel like obligated. Like that is a TV
Yeah.
show I feel obligated to watch at some
Yeah,
point. Like
yeah.
it is too important. So
It is fucking weird to me that Star Trek comes out a few months after Ultraman.
It's a funny overlap.
I think there was a pilot they had made like a year earlier, but like Star Trek itself doesn't air until like a few months after Ultraman is already going, which is interesting the way things line up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a while since I've watched any original Star Trek. And I think I think these days there's some kind of like updated special effects version of Star Trek, which is like on Netflix.
They special editioned it?
Fuck.
I think. Hang on, let me see.
I can't believe Spock shot first.
It's the shots. Not that kind of thing. Like it's like when they do shots of the spaceship or something, it looks a little more. It looks too modern.
Give me the fucking version where they're trying to Anderson it.
God.
I want to know if they do better or worse than original Ultraman.
I mean, what you want UFO.
I mean, yes, but also, I want to know if Star Trek does a better or worse job than Ultraman.
Star Trek original series, from what I remember, looks better than Ultraman, generally speaking.
That's probably fair. They got that US money.
Yeah, I mean, there's still like clear like budget, like they cut corners. But I think generally speaking, I think Star Trek on the whole looks a little better.
I don't know if this is fair, and maybe people disagree with me, but I do also think Ultraman kind of has, as in the franchise, Ultra series kind of just has better aliens than most other franchises, I think.
I mean, it's definitely more of a focus for them.
But it's also, there's a lot less than they're just like, here's a guy who's painted funny.
Yeah. I mean,
There was that one episode of Ultra 7 where it was
that.
extremely obvious it was just the dude's painted face.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason I don't like that one specifically.
Also I think if you watch because you know what a Klingon looks like, right?
I think so. Like, there's one of them who's like, Worf is the one in TNG who's a Klingon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
That's not what they look like in the original series.
Oh, okay, that's funny.
In the original series, they just look like a human being, and like it was like Cold War shit, kind of. It was like there could be a secret Klingon.
So like the Yakuza series with Koreans.
Yes. I distinctly remember an episode where Dr. McCoy scans a guy and then turns aside to say to Kirk, "He's a Klingon."
See, this is fascinating to me because I had a professor who was really into Star Trek who always talked about how the Borg were the communists. Are there multiple communists?
The Borg. Okay. So the when I say during the Cold War, I don't necessarily mean that they're the communists. Just that they're doing Cold War stuff via now. I would. There are various political analogs in Star Trek that I would not necessarily describe as very accurate. However, the Borg are probably, kind of communisty. Like, they're very like, oh, everything will be this. Will all be unified. It's very.
Yeah. That's what I remember. My professor would go on weird. My professor really liked to compare things to Star Trek to a group of students who I'm fairly certain the vast majority had no Star Trek experience.
You can't. Here's the thing: you can't use fiction. Fiction relates to reality in the way that like it uses reality to. Like, it represents reality, but
I can't believe Elon is just like when Voldemort took over the Ministry of Magic.
But he kind of would do that because he would talk about like Soviet Union science stuff and then be like, because they're kind of like the Borg from Star Trek, and like
no.
And every time I think about the Borg from Star Trek, I think about him going on weird tirades about the Soviet Union's like space programs and shit. Weird guy.
Okay, right. The number one thing, you have to equip yourself for the internet. The number one faction that is not the communists actually is the Federation. They're not actually. You will see people online talking about Star Trek like a communist like utopia. That is, you can't let those people win.
I already feel like I had this exposed to me.
Sorry,
one of you has to go.
I was just gonna say. Well, you see, this is the very like Western perspective of like good socialism, which is detached from actual existing socialism.
I think I had my feet get wet in this area when I was looking at the Lancer stuff and people bringing up Star Trek.
Well, yes.
So I was like, okay, I understand.
They don't have money. It is an empire. It is they are expanding. It's just doing like liberal soft power. It's just
armed spaceships full of specialists with a capital S will show up and intervene to do the good thing and be the hero ?
Yeah, Star Trek's good. I have never watched The Next Generation. Like the last time I watched The Next Generation, I was like 6. I did not watch it. It was my parents watching it.
I think I've seen like half of episodes on TV.
I've watched like loads of the original series. Anyway, this was a weird aside. What were we talking? SeaQuest.
Yeah,
we talked about SeaQuest.
There's a reason we talked about Star Trek because of SeaQuest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm not going to go through like a beat by beat of the different guys. You can just watch the show. Or
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. Up to anything else this week, or is that?
Yeah, not much. Okay? Just like need to catch up on seasonal stuff. Brad, take off your headphones for a second. Yeah, Avamagica is still good. Still going crazy. Having a good time. Brad, you can put your headphones back on.
Okay, I figured it was about Abe Madoka.
Yep, Abe Madoka. That's what it is.
They kill him with the doohickey yet?
There's maybe.
Which one's which for Madoka Ave Mujica? This is a thought for another time.
I want to think about it now, though.
Yeah.
As in, like, it's a thing I want to put like in my head.
Is Nyamu Kyoko?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my one.
Yeah. Sakiko is Homura.
Damn.
Actually, wait. Who's Madoka? Actually, wait. I was talking maybe Sakiko.
Here's the thing. If Sakiko is Homura, Madoka is not in Ave Mujica.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe Sakiko has to be Madoka. This gets complicated when you have to account for both Mutsumi and Mortis.
Yeah, listen. Anyway, back to our stuff. Brad, what you been up to?
So I didn't do too much this week. I went back to therapy, and my therapist was like, "So is the Elden Ring Let's Play done?" And I didn't come here to talk about this.
You gotta get a therapist that doesn't nag you to play Elden Ring. That isn't therapy. That's not. You got a therapist who guilts you about not finishing off your Let's Play projects.
Listen,
we do that.
She just really wants to.
That is a problem, but yeah, I do have other avenues through which I could be guilted into this. That being said, you two have guilted me into this, and I still haven't done that shit. But anyways,
yeah, we're not powerful enough.
Yeah. Anyways, I did play one arcade fighting game while dicking around with the new machine. I loaded up the Capcom fighting game collection. I was like, I should do a run through of Cyberbots, because that's a game I've played with friends and stuff at events, because sometimes they have a machine for it or whatever, or a multicade with it on. And I'm I've definitely played this with a friend or whatever, just dicking around at a fighting game tournament, but I've never sat down and played the arcade mode. Cyberbots is a fun Capcom fighting game where it's a 1v1 Street Fighter style fighter. You have a robot that kind of Armored Core style has different parts, you have the legs, the arms, weapons and stuff like that. If you do, I think instead of getting stunned in this game, I don't exactly know how it works, but as you fight, sometimes pieces will fall off if you take too much damage. I think that's supposed to replace the stun you get if you take too much damage in other fighting games, which is kind of neat. So obviously if you lose your arms, you can't do a bunch of your special moves or hit certain buttons or whatever, and you have to repair it or get it pick it back up again, sort of thing. So it's kind of a neat mechanic. The funny thing to me about the arcade mode, having finally experienced it, it has a little bit more story than I'm used to from fighting games, where between every match you get a little cutscene, which is cute, and it's different depending on which character you get. At least from what I can tell, because I picked just some random lady, and then quickly realized she is the fake 4 of this game, where she is the child who was experimented on, raised in a lab, but instead of new type nonsense, it's she's the key that they need to use to turn on the big psychic cannon satellite that they want to shoot at Earth. And she doesn't want that to happen, so she's trying to escape. But because this is a fighting game, and you have to fight everyone else in the cast and then take out the bad guy trying to do that, the first, I want to say half of the story mode for this game on her route is just her walking around, or her stealing a robot and then fleeing to Earth, and then all of the good guys being hey, it's one of the enemy mechs, let's kill this lady. And she's like, no, I'm trying to escape. And they're shut up. And then you fight. And then she runs away again. And it's just wow, everyone's an asshole. And then she eventually goes berserk, and then one of the good guys helps her out, and then the situation gets clarified, and then you launch an assault on the satellite and take it down or whatever. It was a fun fighting game. It's cool. I know for a fact there's still a small but dedicated scene for this game. I remember one time we were just hanging out at an event, and there was a few people playing it, and I mentioned oh damn, they're playing Cyberbots, and someone turned around and was like, oh yeah, do you have interest, do you want to know how to play and stuff? And I was like, I got somewhere to be, but I appreciate the offer. But
you crushed their dreams.
I think I probably did. I felt a little bad about it, but
I think you should feel bad.
Yeah. Listen, I can go back years later and be listen, I didn't understand at the time, but now I do. It's a fun game. It was neat. Check it out if you'd like old arcade fighting games. The final boss gets a little bullshit, but that's just the style of the time. They need your quarters. Yeah, the other thing I guess I've really done is I torrented more shit for Plex, because, at some point in my life I'll watch Majestic Prince, I guess. I don't fucking know. And Dominion Tank Police and a bunch of other random shit. So yeah, I did that. But then also, I've been playing Street Fighter 6. I finally decided, like, okay, it's Akuma time, and I'm earnestly switching from Cammy over to Akuma as my new main. And I miss Cammy a little bit.
You play Akuma? That's like crazy. I never would have thought that.
True. Let me tell you, landing that Raging Demon, greatest feeling in the world. I'm getting better at finding not stupid opportunities to actually land that in a match. And I've been very happy with my execution of it. So it's been good. But yeah, Akuma, one of the best characters in that game right now. So, also happy about that. Just like when I was bored in Discord calls with friends, I was like doing the combo trials to the point where I didn't really think that this was happening, but kind of Karate Kid style, the muscle memory is just ingrained in me now, where I just have like a dedicated corner combo that I'm just like, oh yeah, I just like in my bones know what to do in the corner when I land a low kick and what to confirm into for big damage, which feels nice. So I need to learn some drive rush combos yet, but I'm literally one rank behind where I left off with as Cammy. And with much less effort put in. I'm kind of getting carried a little bit, and I don't want to get complacent. Because I do know a lot of the shit I'm getting away with is super not real. It's just that the people I'm fighting aren't good enough to know that. So, that'll catch up to me eventually, but for now I'm enjoying being a problem online. I needed that after getting my ass kicked in City of the Wolves. A game I enjoyed, but I'm very bad at. So... But yeah, that was my week.
Nice. Sick. All right. Well, my shit is really the one thing I wanted to just finish Baldur's Gate.
Nice.
Baldur's Gate 1.
Yeah.
It's one of them wrapped.
How do you feel about Baldur's Gate?
It's all right. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you open the gate?
No. But I did go. I went there.
Yeah.
It occurs to me you might not know what Baldur's Gate is.
No, not at all. I'm completely ignorant.
It's cool. That's cool. You're so free.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm going to inflict the knowledge upon you. Baldur's Gate is a city in the Forgotten Realms.
Man, I actually am crushed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, what you're thinking of is Baldur's Gate's monster.
Oh, okay.
And underneath Baldur's Gate, there's a temple to Baal, and you gotta fucking deal with the consequences of that.
I can't believe we're stamping out the original Canaanite religion.
Yeah, it's Baldur's Gate, the game, is a weird kind of experience because the story doesn't really show up until like you've done the first 4 chapters.
Oh, so it's like a 12-episode slice of life anime.
There are 7 chapters. So yes, but also it because it's weird because it's like the chapter 5 is when like you go to Baldur's Gate, and the first 4 chapters are all the stuff like south of Baldur's Gate. Between
they
that
gotta
and,
deal
like,
with the Iron Crisis.
Yeah, you got to deal with the Iron Crisis. You remember more of this game than I thought you would. You got to deal with the iron shortage because there's bad iron coming out of the Nashkel mines, and you go into those mines, and you kill loads of kobolds, and then you deal with that, and then you solve the crap, and then you go to the secret mine that the Iron Throne has been using, and you raid there, you flood it again. Reflood it.
If they have an iron crisis, why not just use it from the throne?
The Iron Throne are a hostile organization. They're secretly accruing iron so that they can solve the iron shortage themselves. It's all part of a ploy by the leader of the Iron Throne's son, Sarevok, he's your rival, and he doesn't show up for ages through the game, and then you get to Baldur's Gate and you start to unravel some of the mystery, and it's like, oh, this game has a story now. That's crazy, because it didn't. It did not have one, and I was like, this is just a nice little, I'm just like going around places and just meeting like little people and just having this. I would not describe this as a game with lots of writing.
It's really weird playing that game and realizing after a point, oh, I'm thinking about this like a CRPG where like all of my allies have like a quest. These are just mostly guys.
Yeah. It was nice. It was like I was meeting so many of them, and I was like, well, I want to like pick you up and like do the thing with you. And
this
then
is atypical for a CRPG then.
There are so many companions.
There's like 40 companions, and most of them are not story relevant.
No,
you just like find them and they tag along.
And there are 6 people. There you can take along 5 of them, but some of them come in pairs, which is really fucking annoying.
Did you get the party divide with 2 of the pairs that do not get along?
Oh, you mean so a very fun thing that Baldur's Gate 1 does is on the road that your first, like the first party member you meet is like Imoen, and she's like your friend who's been hanging out with you for years, and you're like, okay, I'll take Imoen along. The next 2 people you meet are a pair, and they are evil. Like,
yes.
Alignment is real in Baldur's Gate 1. They are evil. But you've been left a message to go meet 2 more people called Jaheira and Khalid,
who are fucking goody 2-shoes.
Jaheira is not a goody. She is true neutral, but she is nevertheless a harper. And the harpers are the goody 2-shoes of the Forgotten Realms. And so, if you have the 2 evil guys and Jaheira and Khalid in your party for long enough, they will fight you. They will just throw down. They will just kill each other.
They just start fighting each other, and you have to pick a side.
That didn't happen. Now, I didn't get to that point because the 2 evil guys died just by accident in a fight against like the boss of like the first dungeon, and I was like, you know what, that's fine, I'm gonna leave that there. I've won the fight, 2 guys died, that's cool, and I'll move on and I'll pick up 2 more people. And so the one annoying thing about playing Baldur's Gate is that in like the year 2025 is that there is a canon party, and I know that there's a canon party because Baldur's Gate 2 canonizes what the party is, because you're like the beginning of the game, you're hanging out with the people that you theoretically beat the first game with, and you don't get to carry that over or whatever. It's just they just pick like a canon party for the first game, basically. And
the characters that do return are also now normal CRPG written characters that have their own storylines and are much more story relevant.
Yes, but so knowing that the canon party is like Imoen, Dynahair and Minsk, and Jaheira and Khalid, I was like, okay. I was like, I'm like annoyed that I have the canon party. I'm annoyed about it. And then, but at some point I had picked up Zan and I'd left him in a bar, and then I went back to the bar and I talked to Zan, and I was like, I'm so charmed by this miserable man who just keeps being like, we're all going to die. I put him on the team, and then I picked up a cleric and Branwen, and I was like, that's my party, all right? I'm ditching Jaheira and Khalid. I don't care. I've got the hamster guy, who it's simultaneous. Baldur's Gate is simultaneously, obviously, Reddit. I don't know that Reddit existed, but it's very Reddit. However,
I think you'd find that the Reddit was formed from the Baldur's Gate.
Lol. However, you do get to a point, you get to go to Firewine Bridge or whatever, and you meet a bard who says, I've got an epic poem. I've got a poem to read to you about some events about some legends. And I was like, okay, read the poem. And he does just recite like a pretty decently length poem. And I was like, well, I'm not getting that out of like, that's not happening in Baldur's Gate 3, is it? Like, I've played a little bit of a Larian game before. I don't think that's happening in Baldur. I'm not getting a bard who like legitimately wrote a real poem, and I can see the whole of it. That's not happening. So I found Baldur's Gate 1 overall just really kind of charming. It's a really nice. There was a very refreshing moment as well when I got to Baldur's Gate, and a woman on the street walked up to me and said, "Men suck." There's a mage who is like bound a nymph to his house, and that's so fucked up. And I was like, that does sound fucked up. I'm gonna go over there and see what the business is. And I went into this fully expecting like, oh, there's been a misunderstanding. Actually the nymph has entranced him or something. I get to, because that's how the CRPGs go. I get to the house. No, it's just that is exactly what has happened. Is this man is like, I love this woman and she doesn't love me. I have kidnapped her and bound her to this plane of existence. She'll learn to love me. And then you can't persuade him out of this. And then you kill him. And then you can free her. And she's like, oh, cheers. And
it's a
goes back
D&D
to her
adventure
plane.
hook.
And I was like, there are a lot of games that would try to cleverly subvert this in a way that they have not considered means something. Like, this is a quest with a point of view on the world and like on things that happen. And it's not just trying to be clever. And it was nice. It was like simple, straightforward, and I think it was like better for it. There's obviously a lot of racism in a Dungeons and Dragons game. There's obviously a lot of weird ideology about good and evil and all that shit. That comes with the territory. But as like a D&D game, I thought it was nice. Real time with pause combat. We got the okay.
Okay.
Turn-based combat in a CRPG is still fundamentally the same combat as real-time with pause combat. It's just that it takes longer. And because like the result is still this, you lose a fight in like Divinity Original Sin 2 or in or I guess Baldur's Gate 3 would be a better example. I haven't played a lot of it though, so I can't actually I'd pick a fucking, I don't know, a turn-based CRPG with roles in it. You get to the end of a fight, and if you lose, you have to ask yourself a question. Why did I lose? Did I lose because I can't beat this fight yet, I need to go away and level up or get some new equipment? Or is it 2, I didn't have the right approach to the fight? Or is it 3, I just got unlucky with the rolls?
Yeah.
And now, that happened a lot in Baldur's Gate 1. I hit a lot of fights where I was like, I tried it 2 or 3 times before I realized, okay, it's not just that I'm getting unlucky, it's that I don't have the right approach here. I need to replan. I need a new plan. But fighting the same fight 2 or 3 times in a turn-based CRPG is like an hour and a half of your fucking time. And in a real-time game, it is like 10 minutes. Baldur's Gate 1 as a game with a lot of combat in it, I'm like, this game should be real time. Like, obviously it was designed around real time, but it's like going through dungeons, and like obviously I quite liked building like essentially your engine for your fight. It's like you're it's strategy more than tactics. There's still some tactical stuff in there, but it's very obviously there's bullshit fights in Baldur's Gate 1, and there's like weird bullshit moments where it's the combat feels fiddly and stupid.
I have distinct memories of someone being like, hey, there's something like weird going down in this building, can you check it out? And then getting jumped by 6 giant tarantulas and everyone just fucking dying before I could do anything.
Yeah.
Like every encounter in the turn-based ones like a billion years.
Not all of them, but it really because it's not like JRPG, like random encounters where it's like you can get through this quickly. It is in like a turn-based CRPG game. You're dealing with like positioning,
it's more comparable like Final Fantasy Tactics than Final Fantasy VII, I guess, because that one.
Yes, it is, and like individual battles in Final Fantasy Tactics can take a while.
Yeah,
I think this is what, like, I'm listening to this, I'm like, I'm just fine with it, but I do think part of that is because I'm very tactics RPG brained already.
Yeah, I think
I just kind of accepted that.
That does interest me a bit. I'm not because I'm not like a CRPG person per se, as in I haven't played them. The idea that like, the default in a CRPG is like a tactics game is interesting to me.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because you're moving. So you have to move around. You have to take into account like if I cast a fireball, are other people out of the way? Like you gotta. That shit's important.
No. So I am obviously not opposed. I'm not opposed to a turn-based tactics experience in like an RPG. And
Disgaea with real time with pause.
I intend to play Deadfire when I do Pillars of Eternity. I bet I'll like that game quite a lot. And the reason that I don't like Divinity Original Sin 2 combat is not because it's turn-based. It's because of all the other bullshit, and then it being turn-based and taking a while. The multiple health bars, the fact that if you don't turn off your brain, you will always have a voice in the back of your head going, "Hey, why did you build your party to have 2 different damage types? You should just have the one damage type. You should just have an all physical damage party or an all magical damage party. Splitting it doesn't make any sense." And also fucking the fact that crowd control doesn't work until you get down their first health bar means that every fight ends up with a fucking mess in the middle of the screen, like it's a real-time with pause game. And also everyone's on fire because everyone is always on fire in Divinity Original Sin. I don't even have any takes on like the story of Divinity Original Sin 2. I can't get past how much I hate the fucking guy. I hate that game. Anyway. That's a beloved video game. No one should listen to what I say.
Me and my friends had fun with it, but then we were kind of like, this is too hard to organize 4 people playing this together. Yeah. And then we were all like, we should play this individually, and then none of us did.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny how every combat arena in that game has a barrel of oil conspicuously just around.
Everyone is always on fire. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 1, it was good.
No, I have a question.
Go for it.
Because this is a thought that occurred to me a couple of years ago that I was curious about, but didn't have the breadth of gameplay experience to consider. But when I dicked around with A Realm Reborn, I was thinking about like quote-unquote MMO combat and its origins, and thinking about like presumably FF14 derives mechanically from World of Warcraft, but does mechanically World of Warcraft draw from Warcraft 3, as in a playable character is like a hero unit that you control, or is it playing more like a CRPG kind of thing?
I mean, I think there's got to be like pulling from both. Like there's obviously a depth of
I feel like it's
RPG stuff in an MMO that is like not necessarily there in the real-time strategy game.
Yeah, because I'm curious about, because like having not really played like RTS games, especially not ones with like hero characters, but also like not playing CRPGs. I'm kind of curious, was the overlap of like the mechanics there? And the fact that you mentioned that like an encounter at a CRPG is like a tactics game anyway is also just like tickling my brain a bit.
So the overlap between RTS and CRPGs is strong, like in terms of when, because like the big 90s RTSs hit, and then BioWare does Baldur's Gate. And I don't know that there's like a real what's the fucking because there's Fallout before that, but I don't know, but that's turn-based.
Unfortunately, as far as like Western RPGs go, I'm like in the 80s you have Ultima and Wizardry, and then I guess at some point in the 90s Fallout and Baldur's Gate happens.
There's like a whole fucking slew of like D&D and D&D adjacent games through the 80s into like the 90s, and then also there's like Wasteland, which is like proto Fallout. And then at some point Fallout happens, and I think that I don't know what genuinely don't know what like the first isometric CRPG is, but like the first one I can think of off the top of my head is Fallout, but that's turn-based, and then Baldur's Gate is like real time, and that is like taking direct influence from, well, I think first of all it's taking direct influence from Ultima, because I think Ultima has a real-time combat game.
Diablo is also an important part of this mix.
When is Diablo?
97, I'm looking it up.
Oh damn. That is,
but also
okay,
that is. I mean, yeah, I get the first Diablo, because first Diablo, from my experience too, is also like, I'd say maybe the most RPG-y, because like it kind of carves out its own genre as it goes on. But like that first one is like definitely like in that CRPG realm when it comes out.
Yes, and then but then like that Ultima that has the real time, it is like absolutely using RTS ideas, because like the RTS games undergo like rapid evolution very quick. The first Warcraft, you can't, when you click on you can click on one unit in the first Warcraft, and then you have to select what it's going to do from a bar, because that's how Dune 2 did it. And then Command and Conquer happens, and it's like, okay, we are reaching new like extremely cutting edge technology on like how to do RTS games, and fucking that's the, you know, that control scheme is like like you take that over to Baldur's Gate, and it just works. You're boxing around your units the same way you do in an RTS, So
even though there's kind of like coming from different places, they kind of converge in some degree, like mixing of DNA.
Yeah, in like MMOs, it's like a convergence of these. There's already a little bit of crossover, and then there's some convergence of these ideas, because Warcraft is, you know, obviously Warcraft 3 has the units with the special abilities, but then also you've already got like a lineage of like real-time RPGs.
You got like Neverwinter Nights
that you
and
can
shit
borrow
in the mix
from
too.
Yeah. What would a turn-based MMO look like?
I'm sure someone's made it. I'm sure it's out there. I just don't know where it is.
Anyway,
I guess that's how we answer how.
There's apparently one named Dofus.
Isn't that the dumb game that Jeff Keighley got stuff?
I don't know.
It might be. The game includes both pay-to-play accounts offering the full experience and free-to-play. Okay, well, obviously it's an MMO.
And then,
anyway, yes.
Yeah, I guess that answers how somehow Frank Herbert spawned Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes. Yes, in a roundabout fashion. Yes. in sort of in the similar fashion that Jerry Anderson spawned Madoka Magica.
Yeah, you know what? Yes.
Yep. Yep, that's real. You can do the connections there. It's a long one, but you can do the connections.
That's what this podcast is about.
Yeah, it was Madoka to send to Sailor Moon to Sentai, Sentai to Sentai to Thunderbirds. It doesn't take long from there.
Oh, to be honest, I was thinking about the route where it's like something to Ultraman to Kamen Rider to Ryuki to Genorobuchi.
Oh, I mean, obviously Ryuki also is Kamen Rider
it's
Ryuki
really
is
funny
getting borrowed
because I was like, in the normal mapping server, we were talking about like Kamen Rider, and I forget it was like M mentioned having downloaded a couple. I was like, yeah, I have this season and also the Madoka one, and I was like, you didn't say the name, but I know exactly which season you're talking about.
Yep. I need to watch that one. Obviously, I will.
And then later, someone else on Blue Sky also called Ryuki the Madoka one. I'm like, it's funny this happened to me twice today.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Madoka one. Can't contest that. Someday I'll find out why.
Yeah.
I just know it is.
Yeah, there's a really funny comparison you can make early on in the show.
Okay. Well, anyway. We're getting close.
Shoutouts to our parents for being responsible for this podcast.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to a different podcast which not be named for this podcast.
I see. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 1. It's all right. I'll play. I don't know whether I'm going to play Baldur's Gate 2 or Planescape next, but the truth is I'm not going to play either of them next. I want to break from PC games.
Actually, in all of this, I kept meaning to bring up one experience where I was like, man, this game fucking rules. Well, I had two. One being the party split thing when that happened to me. The other being, in the early parts of that game, there are just random dudes who come up to your main character in Baldur's Gate and go, oh, are you this guy? And then if you say yes, he just attempts to kill you because he's an assassin.
Oh, yeah.
And then your party members are like, stop fucking telling people who you are. It's so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out trying to murder you. I like rocking up to the Iron Throne and finding like a letter from Sarevok to his dad. Being like, yeah, the Virtue issue's dealt with. Virtue's dead now. Oh, sorry, my main character was called Virtue. Because she's a Saber clone.
I was about to say, what class did you do?
She's a paladin. She's a paladin with this. I have a roster of OCs I plug into RPGs. So I had the fucking. I should send the fucking. I had like. First of all, I was using the Ryokokui Baldur's Gate pictures, but also I used some Saber fan art. So this was my vibe, which made me more comfortable playing like the complete goody two shoes that is required of being a paladin. Anyway, there was, people rock up and say, are you this person? Yeah, that's me. And they try to kill you Sarevok being like, yeah, she's dead now. She's dealt with. Everything's fine now, Dad. Everything's okay.
Sarevok is really fun.
and then reading his diary, and he's like, oh, this shit's fucked up. I don't have a handle on this. It's okay. I can pull through. So I would not, it's okay. This is like a 3 to 4 star game. It's pretty good. People really like the second one, so we'll see. For now, I'm DS gaming.
Nice. How's FOE?
It's doing okay. You know what? It's so cool. Etrian Odyssey's so fucking cool.
I need to play.
It's neat.
I'm like, the FO. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And then because I had heard about FOEs, I'd heard about the foes, and then I was like, I was playing the game and it introduced what an FOE was to me, and I was like, okay. And then I saw how it worked and what it was doing, and I was like, Oh, this is the missing piece that makes the game so good. Oh my
The
god.
sauce.
It's really they're fun.
This is especially when I was in a fight and a turn passed and I saw the FOE move on my bottom screen and I was like, oh, they move on the end of my turn? Oh my god, this game's amazing.
Terrifying.
Really good. As you know, I hit one, you know, where it turned red and started chasing me. I was like, oh, this game's crazy. This game's so good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I should install the first one. I haven't all locked up.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm having a good time. I hear like the classes get like way crazier in the later games.
That makes
so
sense.
Looking forward to that. Anyway, that is me. That is us. So we should talk about Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have got 3 summaries here for 3 episodes. Let me pull these up.
So which one do you want to start first?
Yeah, let's do them out of order. Fuck it.
I was thinking episode 7.
Oh, okay.
7.
Yep.
He's in the show?
He is in the show.
Not anymore.
Episode 7.
Now he's just Daniel.
It's just this is Daniel.
Damn,
episode
Daniel.
7 is called A Beautiful Man's Will, featuring the Flower from Hell Sword Wheel Grass Kaiju Kendros. That's a Pokemon the Sword Wheel Grass monster. The Sword Wheel Grass Pokemon. Anyway.
Yeah, he's got Razor Leaf.
Presumably. I have never played a Pokemon game.
Well,
you know what?
You've got the DS journey.
I got my DS journey.
You can do like Soul Silver and Heart Gold. People like those.
You should do
I've got
Gen 5.
Soul Silver on my DS. Is that black and white?
Yes.
I don't have it, but I will.
And also black and white too.
You should play Gen 5 so I can have another person agree with me that people glaze up those stories way too hard.
Oh, I see.
I mean,
the only thing I know about go for it.
I just really like Black 2 and White 2. It's one of my favorite Pokemon games.
The only thing I know about those games is 1, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's for some reason. And 2, I'm picking Snivy. I'm picking the little fucking.
That's what I did.
I'm picking the French snake. All right. A goofy ball alien sends a flower to Earth, and Kaoru picks it. Gen immediately ideas it as a being from ideas the. Gen immediately ideas. Let me try
identifies.
Gen immediately IDs it as being from space, and he gets very stern, telling Kaoru, "You got to get rid of the flower." Momoko prevents Gen from taking the flower away and talks about how all women love flowers, all of them, and it's a girl's right to pick a flower from the roadside. Kaoru is going to put the flower next to a picture of her parents. Later, Dan is like, Gen, you can't just let her keep the alien flower because you want to be nice to her. Gen, you can't do that. Like, it's not an inherently dangerous flower, but it can be used as a weapon. And Gen's like, well, now hang on a second. That doesn't seem like grounds to get this mad. 2 women working in Mac present flowers to Dan, and he ignores them, suggesting to Gen, we might be poisonous. Because alien stuff doesn't belong on Earth. This is Dan is very firm on this. Dan insists Gen retrieve the flower. Too late. The flower has it's come to life. It's flying around and it's attacking. It's like spinning like with razors. Gen turns into Leo and follows the flower as it flies to a kaiju and combines with it. Leo then gets his ass kicked by the kaiju's new boomerang petal move. The kaiju heads elsewhere and Leo retreats. Gen is half dead, but after the briefest of recoveries, under the gentle care of Momoko and an apologetic Kaoru, he heads out and Dan picks him up. Dan explains that Mac would have been able to handle this alien if it didn't have the flower. And Gen tries to apologize, but Dan stops him. No apologies and no excuses. Gen wants to help fight the alien, but Dan asks him if he's confident he can win, and Gen has no answer. Dan stops the car at a quarry and grabs a bunch of boomerangs. Without a word, Dan, an expert with the eye slugger, hurls boomerangs at Gen while he also yells some shit about how men have to fight so women can stay gentle. Mid-training, Dan has to run off to deal with another attack. Gen takes up the training without Dan. He makes Momoko and the younger guy from the sports center throw the boomerangs at him, and he has to insist they keep doing it as hard as they can, even as they beg Gen to stop. Eventually, Gen makes a breakthrough in the training, and he runs off to fight the kaiju. The kaiju is ruining Mac's day, and then Gen turns into Leo and starts pulling off his anti-boomerang special moves. He then ends the fight with a decisive sonic spin dash. Dan sees this and smiles, and then sits back in his chair, overcome with some unspoken emotion. In a field of flowers, Kaoru picks up a flower, and Momoko calls her a flower thief. They then get bothered by a couple of bees, and Gen tries to beat up the bees. The end.
Yeah.
The thing where they're like, oh my god, someone help us, and he wakes up like, let me at him. Look, I gotta kill the bees. This man's unwell now. He is no longer good. He's no longer good.
His smile and optimism gone.
And his smile and optimism gone. He's having veteran flashbacks.
This episode's got ideology. Or at least Dan has ideology, but probably in this case the show agrees with
I think the show does too.
This is on Blue Sky. I joked that when Mel posted the series of titles all about being a man, and I was like, oh, that 7th episode title though about a beautiful man.
It turns
this
out
is the one I don't. This is the one that I don't like.
Yeah, it's the most aggressively patriarchal.
This one is
pretty
like
rough.
This one is so deep on its ideas about men and women.
Men go out to fight so that women can stay at home and pick flowers.
Yeah, it's like Dan's like, what would you do? What would society be if men were also doing domesticated work at home?
It's awful.
Specifically, one of the specific ideas being communicated is when Kaoru is like, I can tell a dangerous flower. That flower is not dangerous. My instincts tell me. And part of Dan's whole we have to keep women gentle. Part of it is we have to protect women so that they're free to be stupid. It's like, you know, they don't have to know things. They can just live free so long as we're protecting them.
Dan's view of thing is like that one meme that's like, what's up with the economy? Oh, don't worry about it, kitten. Okay, yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yay. That's what Dan thinks men and women should be. Except he probably thinks calling a woman kitten is weird. He's like, ooh, don't know about that.
Cosmo from Idiot voice. That's just her name.
Oh, true. Cosmo having to explain to Kitty Kitten why he can't call her name. He's like, no, it's too weird. It's too funny. I can't call you Kitten or Kitty. No. Can we come up with a nickname that doesn't involve that? The actual boomerang stuff is funny.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just like silently begins pelting him with boomerangs.
He gets some real nasty gashes on his face. This one.
Yeah, this is you know, in before Mel tells us that actually one of these boomerangs cut one of Gen's arteries and he had to be rushed to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kaiju this episode is fucking stupid looking.
He has a meatball with legs and arms.
The meatball with legs and like a ridiculous propeller flower.
Yes.
I do like the petal boomerang idea. I do think that's fun.
The fights in this show are cool because, like, yeah, that them having to work in the training stuff and like find like, okay, well, what's what could this monster do that would necessitate weird martial arts-esque training, has greatly elevated what they're doing and my interest in these fight sequences. It's great. I do also love the idea that as soon as Gen accomplishes the thing he's trying to do one time, he has completely mastered it. He goes from 0 to 100. He's like, yes, I'm hyper competent now.
This week we do get our first time where Gen does it twice just to check that that it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah. See, you say that. My interpretation was that he does it, and then he gets two people to be like, okay, but can I handle two people throwing boomerangs at me?
Oh no, I didn't mean the boomerang. I meant the next episode.
Oh, okay.
He does the jump twice.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
But yeah, the fucking getting like the sports center in on the training is, you know, is fun. I you know, them being like, this seems crazy. Why are we doing this? And he's like, no, you have to throw them harder. I need it.
He's a masochist.
Clearly.
Do you think at some point, I was thinking this during this boomerang segment, just probably because I already do not remember her name or their friend from the sports center's name. I apologize. But
I know the girl's name is Momoko, but I think I forget the guy. I think maybe he's Takeshi, maybe?
Do not remember. But do you think if either of those actors need to leave the show, they're going to suffer a completely brutal death?
In Leo? Maybe.
Yeah. Like, that's just
Maybe.
the vibe I'm getting.
I could see it. I mean, Momoko's died once. She got revived by the puppet, the lion puppet. Scream. Roar. That's what lions do. Who made this episode?
This episode was made by, I have to flip back to the other page. Written by Bunpei Ai, and then directed by a newcomer, Toru Toyama, who very little information on. And there seems to be so like, I know sometimes I've run into it where it's like, oh, it's hard like looking stuff up because sometimes people just have the same name and like it's something completely different. This one's even more frustrating because I think there's a guy working on like current TV stuff with this dude's name as like a background like set person. And I do not believe it's the same guy.
Damn.
Cause like he did start doing shit till like the mid 2010s, I think. But what I could find of him is that apparently he also had directed a few episodes of Silver Mask, that old Jisoji joint.
Yeah.
And then I believe he also is going to do a few episodes of Ultraman 80, but that's it in terms of his, you know, work on Ultraman.
Okay. All right. Mel?
Hello. We got special effects director Nobuo Yajima. Kendoros designed by Tetsuo Osawa. Apparently during the filming of the boomerang training scene, a bunch of the crew members also started throwing boomerangs, and Ryumasu considered whether he should throw some back.
Oh my... This poor man. This show seems to have been made to make him suffer.
There was a contract kill out on this dude. I am convinced.
I'm surprised he still comes back.
He still comes back? This guy comes back?
Yeah, he's not like Shinoda. He's like, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm the Leo guy. I'm around.
I'd be like, fuck those guys. The crew were throwing boomerangs at me. They made me freeze to death in a fucking wintertime under a fucking waterfall. They drove a car. They hit me with a car.
Every time there's that stupid look of despair comes across his face, all I can think of is gonna cry, piss your pants, baby. Baby shouldn't come.
I like the Tumblr page I was sent. That was like comparing Gen's expression to like Sad.
He
kid.
has
Yeah.
a really good sad face. I said this for 3 episodes in a row now, but goddamn, the man can act.
Oh well, maybe he's not
Okay.
acting.
Yeah, true.
I have to pull up these images again. Yeah, they're fantastic. I love these. This Gen's so good. I'm a big fan, but also they keep trying to kill. They keep trying to kill this man for real. I mean, obviously, I don't think the boomerangs were going to kill him, but it's mean.
I mean, they use those to hunt tiny ass animals, don't they?
I mean, but yeah, boomerangs were like a hunting thing originally.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's tiny. I don't know what were boomerangs used for.
True. We should learn.
Yeah. If you're an indigenous person from Australia, please email in to tell us what boomerangs are for.
I was just gonna Google it.
I in fact have Googled into my phone boomerangs what do. And according to the National Museum of Australia, they were used for digging and hunting. Actually, both.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Versatile.
What hunting? What though?
It doesn't say.
I mean, there's lots of small guys in Australia. I don't.
One thing here is hunting waterfowl.
Oh, that makes sense.
Hares, deer, and partridges.
Deer. That's big. All right, fair play. Boomerangs are cool. Anyway,
Also known as throw sticks or Kylies.
The throw stick quanger.
Is throw stick what? Okay, what language does the word boomerang come from?
I assume it's an Australian indigenous language. One of them.
I mean, I also assume so, but it's possible it was
The
it was
origin of
named
the
by
term is
someone else.
uncertain. Apparently.
Oh well, then yeah, probably. Hang on. Various forms of boomerang-like designs are traditionally used by some Aboriginal Australians for hunting, which were known by various names prior to colonization. So it's possible that boomerang is just like one like uniform term that's been settled on after after Britain did what Britain does.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, there was a lot of nations there before. I
tend to think of it as as Britain mainly because Britain kind of.
No. I meant many indigenous nations with their own languages.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Yes.
So only one entering like the English language makes sense. Even if there are also thousands of them on the continent.
True. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're trying to kill Gen with boomerangs. Poor guy. I don't have like loads. To be honest, it doesn't. Here's the thing: the main meat of this episode that we would talk about is the gender stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually take much to talk about it. We just go. This is the ideas, and we don't like them.
The show asserts that men need to go out and fight so women can be at home doing lady work and also be innocent to the cruelties of the world.
Yeah.
Because their tiny brains can't handle it.
It does not have the surprising emotional complexity of the episode where Toru is being encouraged to be a man, but the actual revelation he has is that he should care about his sister.
Yeah. The men have to go out into the dog eat dog world, and while women can live playfully in their gilded birdcage home.
Yeah. And never have to think.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd love to just be stupid.
This is me reading Count Zero and seeing William Gibson go off about women watching soap operas.
Oh no. I need to fucking catch up.
Is that Bobby's
Bobby's
mother?
mom, yes.
Yeah.
Bobby
Man.
Newmark.
Oh, Bobby's such a fucking...
He pulled a Wilson.
God, I can't...
He's so funny.
To be honest, I can't remember exactly how I feel about Bobby Newmark beyond what a funny guy.
Yeah, well, let me get the line that I posted that I was like, this is the funniest thing I've read in Count Zero. I feel it was like, horses, Bobby said, his throat tight. Bobby, do you know what a metaphor is? A component? Like a capacitor?
Shut the fuck up, Bobby. Oh, Bobby's so great. I don't know if he's great. We'll see.
There's different forms of greatness.
There are different forms of greatness. I think, yeah, Count Zero is cool. Kind of. I can't remember. Anyway, Ultraman. Are we kind of done talking about this episode? Yeah. Oh, there's actually one thing we have to... There's the self-hatred line. Where Dan's like, we might be poisonous again. Yeah. Like, he also kind of believes that them being here is a crime.
He views the Ultramen, aliens, as the men, and humanity as the women.
Oh, that's so true. Humanity is women.
Humanity must stay on Earth, separate from the aliens, where they don't have to think, and they can just play and live happily. And it is up to the good aliens to fight out there against the bad aliens to keep them safe.
There is no such thing as a human man. They're all...
Me looking directly at the camera.
It's like
I'm learning things today.
It's like internal contradictions. This,
Yeah. I like this read on Dan's like idea of gender kind of filtering into like his role of being like, yes, you and I are men, humanity is women.
Yeah. And that's why they need the space garrison to keep Earth safe from aliens.
Yeah. So true. Episode 8 is called Certain Kill Kaiju Challenger, featuring the rowdy kaiju Vecura.
I think they kind of gave up on the epithet for this one.
Yeah, is there anything in particular that's particularly rowdy about this one? Is like, are other kaiju not
Unlike
rowdy?
the other kaiju, this one is rowdy.
And to be honest, isn't rowdy a bit of an understatement for what kaiju do? Mac are fighting a kaiju in Tokyo when Gen spots a civilian in an area that's supposed to have been evacuated. He disobeys an order from Mac officer Aoshima and ejects to go save whoever that goofy-looking guy in a sports blazer might be. Oh my god, it's Omura? He was so caught up in pachinko he didn't notice everyone evacuating. A couple of Mackies get shot down and Gen discovers the kaiju's weakness. It's back! Back at Mac HQ, the rest of the crew are chewing out Gen for disobeying orders, and he's like, but I learned its weakness. And the crew counters, well, that was because of pure luck, and now the kaiju will be wary of its weak point. Aoshima keeps yelling at Gen, and Dan intervenes. He insists Aoshima stop, and he suspends Gen for 1 week. He takes Gen to the gym and says, alright, hit me in the back. Gen keeps jumping in despite Dan having strong anti-air, and Dan's like, see, they were right about one thing. It'll be a struggle now to hit the kaiju in the back. He tells Gen about a mountain where a monk called Jikun lives, and reminds Gen he's suspended for 1 week. Gen rides his motorbike up the mountain road and finds the monk, who denies being the monk. Jikun goes for a long walk with a kid, and Gen follows, at first begging Jikun to help him, and then wondering if maybe there's some hidden training here. It's this line of thought that leads him to hit Jikun in the back with a big stick. And the kid is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And Jikun tells the kid, all right, calm down. It's okay. He's clearly not right in the head.
Yeah, just ignore him.
Ignore him. He's clearly fucking crazy.
Look what Dan did to this man.
He's training everywhere now.
Yeah. Our heroes bashing an old man in the back with a stick heroically, and then looking around like, oh no, I fucked up, sorry. I thought it was like secret training, but no, it's just he really was just crouching down at a shrine to pray. Oh no. This show's so good. Gen keeps following them and eventually sees Jikun cross a stream using a wall jump, and Gen's like, alright, that's it, I gotta learn that. He spends the rest of the day, through the night, and into the morning, hurling himself into the stream over and over until he gets...
This one looks kind of fun.
This This sequence is so good because it's just, you know, shots of him planting his feet against stone, and then shots of him flying in from the side of the shot and then falling into the stream over and over and over again. I was losing it. It was so good. I'm a huge fan. He's got a lot of good falls. He's hurling himself into the stream over and over until he gets the wall jump right. He gets it right one time, and then he tries it a second time to make sure. Perfect. Jikun arrives and says, something has appeared in Tokyo, and Gen heads back. In Tokyo, Mac is struggling with the kaiju. Aoshima is going to try to run in to get behind the kaiju, and Dan's like, no, stop. That's an order. And Aoshima ignores it and gets injured. Gen arrives on his bike and rushes in to save Aoshima. Aoshima retreats from the fight on the bike, and Gen turns into Leo just as the kaiju is about to crush him. Leo has a big fight with the kaiju and then pulls off the wall jump into a rider kick on the kaiju's back. The battle is won. Back at base, Dan suspends Aoshima and reminds Gen he still has 3 days of suspension left. With a smile, Dan tells Gen that Omura needs a hand if he's to have any time to play pachinko, and he tells Aoshima to go to a hot spring and recover from his injury. Gen helps Aoshima out the door, and everyone is all smiles, all laughter. The end. This is another kind of low-key episode.
It's fun.
We got our first, like, kind of introduction to one of the regular officers.
Though apparently I looked in the trivia, and like a different of the guys introduced in episode 1 is just leaving now.
Of course.
Yeah. That's just...
Now, well, you know, good thing we don't know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Akio Kuroda, who is like the guy with the eye patch in this episode.
Goodbye.
Yeah, bye.
Goodbye, Kuroda.
Yeah.
It's nice having you.
It's interesting, just like, oh yeah, Mac is just not important in this show.
Yeah, we don't. They're guys for Dan to order around. They just exist so Dan can have feelings about them. That's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
We get enough. We get an episode about a guy enough for an episode, and that's fine for the show's rules.
Yeah. I like the energy of sending Gen to the mountain to find a monk to teach him to do a flip.
It's really good.
It's really cool. I'm a big fan.
It is funny. This monk is just like a fan, not a fan, but like just a friend of Dan existing. Like, oh,
yeah, he knows Dan. Where does he know Dan from? Dan's had a lot of adventures.
Yeah. It's been a busy 7 years.
When Dan was like his own wandering guy.
Yeah.
He
can't wander anymore.
No. Well, I mean, you know, he can wander. He probably can't do like flips off the wall across the stream anymore. He probably can't do that level of wandering.
He can't jump on the car.
He can't jump on the car. He can't. God. I mean, he can still drive. He turned up in a car last episode, and I was like imagining Gen having flashbacks.
I forgot to mention last episode. I was like, the episode was flower themed, but there was a lot of flowers. Like, is this show still flower language pilled? I don't know if the rest of these episodes are, but I was.
Oh yeah. There's flowers in this episode. I'm not sure.
I have to rewatch the episode.
It was very funny getting off the back of the episode we recorded where you were saying, is this show all in on like flower symbolism? And then the next episode of Leo I watched was the one with the flower attacks. Yeah, I was like, well, I think they're all in on the flowers. This episode, I'm not actually sure.
I don't know if any other episode of this batch has flowers, so maybe I'll keep an eye out for later episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been the return of the very funny phenomenon where there's just like two very similar ideas back to back because of how they aired them.
Lol.
Yeah.
I think the actual like the flip is like, this is like the like low on like the tier of like the training helps in my mind.
Oh yeah.
I don't have like much else to say than that, to be honest. This is kind of a
jump better, forehead.
Jump better. This is a bit of a slower week. I like Aoshima's. I like the stuff early in this episode where it's like, Gen is getting suspended for disobeying orders, and his defense is like, but I learned something valuable. And Dan is like, no, they're like, well, no. That was pure coincidence. You can't use that. You did not actually, come on. You got to be serious here. There is this moment. I didn't put this in the summary. There is this moment early in this episode where Dan's like, you can't just, you think that turning into Ultraman means that you can beat kaiju all on your own. But you don't understand the value of teamwork and friendship. And Gen is like, why would I care about teamwork and friendship? I nearly fell out of my chair.
He just like doesn't just cap. I assume that friendship and teamwork just happens in the battlefield. It just comes naturally. I don't have to try for it. It's just gonna happen.
Why would I have to put in effort to that? Like, come on. Did friendship and teamwork ever beat a kaiju? It seems like I beat the kaiju every time.
Yeah, this isn't Super Sentai.
This is not Super Sentai. This is Ultraman.
In fact,
I'm the Ultraman.
In fact, Super Sentai hasn't happened yet.
He is the problem solver.
I am the problem solver, and you are the problems clown. Who made this episode?
Same writer-director duo. So written by Bunpei Ai and then directed by Toru Toyama.
I might explain why it's kind of light. I don't. I think these two are the lightest that we've had so far.
Yeah, this team was like, oh, you need some of these. All right,
we can pump the. I mean, we're not gonna get bangers. Sometimes it's gonna.
There's 50 episodes.
This is how it is.
That's just how.
Personally, it's nice because it means we're not doing 3-hour podcasts every week. I would die.
Yeah.
I still like this one. I'd still say I like. It's just kind of nothing compared to what we've had.
Things can be enjoyable, but not dense. You can just washes down nicely.
This one, the jump, I feel like has the most martial arts movie of the training. I feel like this one really has that tone to it more than even the other ones we've seen that are maybe a little more gadget brained.
Going up to the big machine with the 3 arms that is the most stupid thing I've ever seen is not the same as going up the mountain and following an old man on his hitting a monk in the back.
Getting ready to think about my sorter results for the training.
Yeah.
Can you title this one Back Shots?
I don't know about that one.
Ultraman Leo hitting it from the back.
Gen hitting it from the back on an old man called Jikun.
He's like, you thought you handled the Mackies, but can you handle this?
Wow.
Anyways, Mel, who did the special effects?
Same duo.
Before we move on to the episode where he gets covered in white gunk.
same duo. Nobuo Ujima for special effects and Tetsuo Osawa on the kaiju Verkia, whatever.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there anything else we want to say about this episode? I feel like we kind of sped through this one really quickly. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's simple.
I like that this show is all about how no one in Mac likes Dien.
Yeah, no one fucking likes
it. It's like
Dan likes him, but he won't show it.
It's intense. The one guy who likes him is the most abusive to him. That's
how he shows he likes it.
It's intensified version of what Go had going on with Matt. I'm looking forward to when we get teams with more creative names. This is the worst one by far.
What, the Monster Attack crew?
Yeah. As host of the terrible Monster Attack crew.
Yeah.
I quite like Mac just as a thing to say.
Yeah.
So I'm pro the Monster Attack crew. However, we are now just we're recycling the same ones again. So we should, we should maybe rethink or stick with one.
Yeah, I am thinking of Always Sunny in Philadelphia every time we talk about the summer.
Every time we talk about Mac, you're thinking about Mac from Always Sunny.
I think a lot of the time I am. That or Big Mac.
So when I say Mac is fighting a kaiju in Tokyo, do you think you're picturing kaiju-sized Mac?
Insert the Always Sunny theme in the background here.
That's I'm sure Mac would have a great time fighting a kaiju. Anyway. He'd have a lot of thoughts about how best to do it. Episode 9. It's called The Bridge of Friendship. Oh, I fucked it up immediately. Episode 9 is called The Bridge of Friendship That Spans Space, featuring the Space Beast Giro.
Did you just have that ready?
No, I looked up Mac quotes, and this is actually the first one that came up.
Hang on, I gotta scroll the voice. I do. That is a quote he said. I love that fucking scene. I say this very frequently when they're in the pool and he's like, well, that I do, I can do a back. I would need to do a front flip to get up to the top of the pool. I can only do backflips, and you can't do I do backflips every single day of my life. All right.
Now we can talk about the episode where Toru's roommate, the frog kid, gets attacked.
Yeah, Gen's got the day off, and he's doing fairground rides with Toru, Kaoru, and Momoko. Toru visits a kaiju exhibit. This is insane.
Yes!
Where they've got people in like Zeton suits and stuff next to a real kaiju.
Well, no, they're like It's all in suit, but like there's this one guy who's like secretly a kaiju. Is the thing. Yeah.
He's snuck on, and he's a kaiju, and Toru gives his ice cream to one of the kaiju called Giro. Gen comes along, and Momoko points out it's a little weird that a suit could eat an ice cream. So Gen does his flashy eyes and like, oh, it's an alien. And I'm like, this means that canonically they look like people in suits.
Now, also, too, backing up even further, there's a part of this that is still unhinged to me. I know we've brought this up before, but the merchandising of the kaiju themselves in this universe is unhinged.
Yes.
This would be the equivalent of if we like went to Universal theme parks and it's like, oh, do you all want to go and like, catch the Hurricane Katrina stage show? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. These shows are always in a weird relationship with their own merchandising. But I feel like the 70s is like when we get like the weirdest version of that.
Yeah.
Like Zeton is the one that traumatized all the children.
Yes.
Yeah, this is crazy. But yeah, Gen spots that this is an alien, and what then ensues is Gen chasing Toru and Giro in a car. He's learned from his master. While Toru yells, "No, leave him alone." Giro and Gen, Gen like, does Gen hit Giro with the car?
No, he's about to. But then, like...
He's about to, and then Giro turns big.
Well, what happens is Toru steps in front.
Toru steps in front. At some point, I can't remember the exact order of events, but somehow Giro turns big, and then Gen transforms into Leo. And they have a brief fight, and then Giro escapes with Toru. Back at base, Dan's like, all right, the whole reason I forbade you from transforming without a solid plan of action is that this kind of shit can happen. And Gen argues he had to save Toru. And Dan asks, okay, did you save Toru? And Gen's like, okay, now I can see where you're going with this. No, I did not save Toru. But nevertheless, and Dan is having none of it. He asks, what if Giro's taken Toru to space? And Gen reacts by turning into a letterbox.
Yeah, what the fuck?
This was such a weird shot.
The cinema. I made a post about this.
The fucking screen, it just, everything else blacks out as we just focus in on Gen's eyes as he reacts to the idea that this alien could have taken Toru into space.
It changes your aspect ratio.
Changes, yeah. Mac gets the call that Giro's been sighted, and they all converge on a merry-go-round, where Toru and Giro are laughing and playing while the Ultra 7 opening background lingers over them. Gen talks to Toru and tricks him into stepping away from Giro, at which point Max starts blasting. Giro is chased away, but there's something wrong with Toru. He won't wake up. His soul is flying with Giro through a candy land. At some point in here, Gen says, okay, maybe Giro is not an alien we need to kill. And Dan's like, are you stupid? Aliens must die, motherfucker. And then he subjects Gen to a new training
so
to deal with.
long away from Ultra 7. Except kind of not really.
He subjects Gen to new training to deal with Giro's white foam attack, and Gen's like, okay, I have to make myself more aerodynamic, so I have to curl up into a ball and spin, and Dan's like, absolutely, 100%. Also, Toru has escaped and fled to Giro, so we're gonna go fight now. You stay here and perfect more sonic spins. Mac fights Giro unsuccessfully, while Toru yells to leave him alone. Gen masters the spin and rushes to the fight. Leo manages to quote-unquote rescue Toru from Giro's dastardly clutches, and then he has a big slow-motion fight with Giro, and I guess they were feeling Ultra 7-y when they made this one because it's just bubbles everywhere. This fight kind of rules.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
It's neat.
Leo cuts off the white foam stalks and Giro melts. Toru is distraught, and he thinks it's pretty fucked up that Mac and Leo killed an innocent kaiju that didn't do anything until Gen attacked. Gen and Dan exchange a glance that's like, whoa, did we fuck up big time? Omura, desperately looking for a silver lining, talks about, well, you've learned there are nice aliens, and you've taught us adults a valuable lesson. And Toru's like, that really doesn't help the fact that Mac murdered my friend. And Dan says, okay. What if Mac revived Giro on the condition that he returns to space? While that's happening, Gen has snuck off to transform into Leo. He revives Giro, and Giro says goodbye. Toru is still sad about this, and Dan, in an expert bit of sophistry, says, Toru, what if we let Giro carry the memory of your friendship to space? Giro leaves. Toru waves goodbye, silhouetted against the sun. The end. Dan's little thing at the end of this where he's like, well, actually, Toru, what if he goes and he teaches more aliens about your friendship?
Yeah.
And that's what you want him to do? Yes, that's what I want. I don't just want him to fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm not just invested in, maintaining Earth's borders.
Yeah. Now give me a second.
I believe in miracle. Ultraman, thank you!
So true, thank you, Mel. This is a medical miracle.
Maybe I think the one I've liked the least that we've gotten.
Damn.
It's something.
It's really egregious.
We went through the disability Ultraman. This is the one you like the least?
I think so, because like those.
Wow.
Those I like. I think this one is like egregious in how much this is just like, well,
how
we don't
cheap
want
it is?
Yes, it's well, we don't want the kids being sad that the good monster died for no fucking reason. Now let's just fix it. It's like, oh, okay.
I don't know what the plan was here. This episode's wild.
But also, like, I'm going to have this every time they do want to do a thing. Because they do sometimes do this where it's like, well, did the monster really deserve to die? This is kind of sad. And now, we just have this on the table of it's like, well, you can always, like, bring it back to life, I guess.
You can bring it back just like Father of Ultra brought back Nanboro's wife.
Yeah.
To marry.
Yeah.
It's...
Well, now that you've killed the kaiju, it's learned its lesson.
Yeah, so it's learned a lesson about coming to human society.
Yeah. Do not come here. The only aliens allowed here are Ultramen.
Yeah, this
Everyone
is a real,
else,
not
no go.
my backyard aliens shit going on here.
Shuichiro just like watching and nodding. I see.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense.
see.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, this... This episode is, like, fun, but I think we both have seen and will see in the future better versions of this.
Yes, I agree.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like in a way, I think the most entertaining value is like how absolutely ridiculous the fucking
Like, I think the first episode of this batch is kind of bad. This one, I was just like, man, this is kind of disappointing, because like I'm always down for a story of this type. I just don't think there's a good one of these.
Yeah.
I think I appreciate how committed it was, at least to the. And I don't know that this was deliberate, but this episode is very committed to the cop vibe of Mac when it comes to dealing with Giro. Like the thing where Gen is like talking to Toru, and then the moment he steps away from Giro, every member of Mac pulls out their gun and opens fire.
Yes.
I was like, these are like evil, awful cops.
Yeah. And it's just,
but
it's interesting in the context of like both Gen and Dan are aliens, and yet cannot conceive of the idea that, like, or just reject the idea that like previous Ultras have had even that like, oh, you can just have friendly aliens.
I definitely feel it. I wish this had a little more of that like Jisoji Sasaki juice of like, let's just stew in how bad this feels for a little bit more, rather than just being like, oh, the adults had a lesson to learn from the kid who's
or
wiser beyond his years.
Not those two, but like Shozo Uehara, Marucci episode.
Or that, yeah.
I do like the bit at the end here where Omura trying to cheer Toru up as being like, maybe this is a lesson we can learn, and Toru's like, no, he's dead. He didn't have to die, and you killed him.
Yeah,
I hate you, and I hate Ultraman Leo.
I hate but this is like
also,
this is such a dirt cheap resolution.
This is like the inverse. This is like the inverse of the Ace finale.
Not to cinema sins this, but I really love the idea of Dan being like, well, what if we could revive him? And then Gen has to go like, I need to sneeze, and then he runs up a mountain, transforms just out of sight, and then Ultraman revives the monster, and then Gen comes back. You're not fooling anyone.
It's so wild that Dan's like, we can bring him back to life somehow, but only on the condition that he leaves.
Mac can do it. Gen. I do it because you don't get Gen's face. You just see his feet. You just see his legs, kind of like, ooh, we're just gonna sneak. We're gonna dash out of frame. We're heading down the mountain.
This is funny.
This is unhinged.
I think the conclusion is ultimately the thing that just kind of undermines the whole thing. But also,
I like the monster. I like the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The fight is great. I had a great time with the fight.
Back in the bubble zone.
Yeah.
I also just think there's better. If you're not gonna if you're not gonna kill the kaiju, then don't kill it.
Yeah.
Just
they
find
really
like your writers. You're writing the show.
They really wanted to do the shot where the kaiju melts into bubbles.
They did. They really did. They've done it before on Ultraman, but I can't remember when it was. But it's a fun one. But
me taking it's kind of long drag of the cigarette. No, fridge the kaiju.
Fridge the kaiju.
I think I'm just gonna take that's my new bit. Is I'm just always gonna be pro fridging random side characters.
I see. I say
this as if I haven't gone on record before saying I actually do like it when shows have high death counts. But,
Mm-hmm. I'm ultimately just kind of weird mixed on this episode, because it's like...
That's how I feel about this whole session, I'd say. I like the middle one quite a bit, but like...
Yeah, this is like a little more of like we're getting a vision of what like we're dealing with long term with Leo, right?
Yeah.
Where we've got like some
step
hits,
it out
some misses.
of the honeymoon
That's how it
period.
goes with Ultraman.
But it's like when you got 50 episodes, you just gotta lock in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's a
lot
of ones.
That training. What's with the
Can you describe the device, because you did not in your summary?
Dan puts him in a box.
Yes.
And in that box is a bunch of white foam getting thrown at Gen.
Yeah, there's like a spray
like
system.
just sprayed at him.
I don't know if there's also trampoline
Gen,
in this thing.
Yeah, Gen has to jump and spin and try to maintain himself in the air, spinning, curled up in a ball as fast as possible so that the foam doesn't get him. Now, he doesn't do this in the fight. At no point in the fight does he do this spin.
Yeah, I was a little lost about this as well.
This is completely irrelevant training.
Captain, why'd you make me do this? I don't know.
I wanted to shoot the foam at you. It looked pretty funny.
Puts him in the car wash.
Yeah. We got to hit you with as many like car themed training as possible. First, I'm gonna hit you with a car. Then we're putting you through the car wash. Next, we're gonna change your oil. What does that mean, boss? You'll find out.
My sister had a friend growing up who was not very smart, is I guess how I'll say, but like to like an egregious extent where it's like, damn, this is like kind of embarrassing. And one of my sister's friends told me that she was like that because her parents put her in the washing machine when she was little, and I believed it for years.
That's well. Dan's gonna put Gen in the washing machine.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. Dan, Captain, how am I gonna fit in there? I'm gonna hit you until you fit. Alright, who made this episode?
This was directed by returning director from Ace and Taro, Kiyosumi Fukasawa, and then written by a new guy named Tetsuro Domon, who I attempted to look up info on and found even less than the other new guy from this batch.
Damn.
I think he also is going to help out for Ultraman 80, maybe? But, like, there's just fucking nothing, and I couldn't find anything on even, like, previous shows or anything else he'd worked on, which, could be a pseudonym. Who knows?
Who knows?
Alright, Mel.
Special effects director is Koichi Takano. Once again, Star Bem Giro. What? I don't know what a Bem is. What's Star Bem? Please explain to me. Designed by Tetsuo Osawa. Apparently, Tatsumi Nakamoto was the suit actor for the human-sized scenes. And yeah, that's I think that's all we got on this side.
Nice. Yeah. Alrighty, cool. What else do we have to say about this episode? Is there anything else?
I don't know why they put the Ultra 7 OP in the background.
Yeah, they were just using the fucking Ultra 7 opening, the fucking weird, the orangey look.
Yeah.
For a bunch of like Toru's visions. I like the merry-go-round one quite a bit.
Yeah.
I thought, I thought the actual scene of Mac doing their cop shit on Giro at the merry-go-round was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm not immune to this. But yeah, I don't have much else. I don't think.
Yeah, kind of feels like a light episode.
Yeah.
All things considered. Shocking considering the subject matter, I would say, even.
Perhaps. But we've had this subject matter a lot.
We don't need to...
One of the best episodes of Ultra 7 is an episode where Dan commits a genocide, or Dan helps the Ultra Guard commit genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Imagine if Dan was like, okay, aliens can stay on Earth, but one condition. We have to give them some kind of color grading that measures their mental state, and then we'll have a gun that shoots them.
Yeah. You get it. They have to subscribe to this system where we're keeping a track that we got a special number called a crime coefficient.
Yeah, exactly.
If that number goes too high, I'm legally allowed to explode them.
Yeah, just for aliens though.
In fact, I'm legally compelled to explode them. And you know what? Is it even really me killing them? Because it's the computer that says I should.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
Men from Wisconsin will hear this described and literally think of ergo proxy. That's still the funniest mistake I've made.
Have you finished Ergo Proxy yet?
Have you finished Ergo Proxy?
I have 2 episodes I'm just sitting on for no reason.
Go watch it.
You finished that Elden Ring Let's Play?
Yeah.
All right.
See, here's the thing: is I think deep down I don't trust the ergo proxy ending to be good. We'll see.
I doubt it will be. However,
I might as well finish my plate.
Yeah,
it's right there.
Alternatively, you just never do. You just call it done.
That'd be funny, but I need to know. I need to know about the ergo proxy.
Is the ergo proxy a thing in the show?
Yes, there is literally an episode where a character dramatically goes, "I am ergo proxy," and then it cuts the credits.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That's good.
Truly, we were the ergo proxy.
Yeah, the ergo proxy was the friends we made along the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Mel, do you have some color timers for us?
Yes. Episode 7 is 3 minutes 15 seconds and 1 minute 45 seconds. You'll notice one of those is above the time limit.
One of those is above the time limit. One of those is not.
Episode 8, 2 minutes 5 seconds. Episode 9, 1 minute 16 seconds. 3 minutes 36 seconds and 1 minute 24 seconds. What the point is the point of this timer?
Ooh. A lot of that last episode's in that fight is in slow motion.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm not counting for that.
You know, we can't do the accurate measurement there. But however, it is still incredibly funny that they were like, let's reduce the timer so we get
let's canonically reduce the
less
number.
action.
And not only do they get like consistently over or regularly over, and they'll also like have them transform multiple times in the same episode.
Yes. But yeah, the format of this show requires that Leo get beaten by the kaiju first and then beat it later. so and yet this is the one where, you know, we want to deprioritize the fighting.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Medical Miracle is
right.
at 20 now.
Cool. Do we have any emails?
Yeah, we got a couple.
Yippee.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
We got from Tep. Welcome back. Think about friendship and teamwork. Dan Moroboshi. First, I love your appreciation of Dan Moroboshi in the show. Listening to your discussion of his character makes me feel like a sommelier in the company of sommeliers savoring a fine wine. I don't fucking know what that word means.
That's, you know, people who like professional wine people.
Oh, okay. The Dan Moroboshi sexism moments episode is surprisingly strong, sexism aside. The training montage with Momoko and Takeshi helping out is great. There's a sense that the training can those through is unreasonable but also necessary, and there's a sense that the training for all three of them is an outlet for this amount of suffering they've been through. Also, again, first catch of the boomerangs, the pure rage in his face and sense of aggression towards Garen is great. Gan and Dan need each other, but they also hurt each other, though Dan's obviously more at fault here. The show isn't always equipped to handle the kind of fucked up relationship it's showing, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Yeah, they got toxic yaoi codependency.
You listen. You know, it's good. It's good.
Episode 8 is fun. Dan loves friendship and teamwork. Also, the training this episode legit had me wincing every time. That's gotta hurt. As for Giro, I can't help thinking this episode would be far more powerful if it wasn't revived and end up on Toru's approval of Mac and Leo for killing an innocent alien. The show seems especially made for such an ending. It also makes one ask, why can Leo revive someone here and not the other times in the show? That said, Toru's...
Yeah,
you know. It's like
Ultraman's always been kind of wishy-washy on, when an Ultraman can use a power or not.
Yeah, like, in the last batch of Taro, when they revived Nanbara's fiance and then didn't revive Kenichi's dad.
No, they did not. They did not do that. Oh, he was lost to sea. They couldn't find the body.
He belongs to the depths now.
Davy Jones has got him.
There's a SeaQuest episode about finding him.
There is a SeaQuest episode with the ghosts, maybe.
Oh my fucking god.
Nice.
Is it Davy Jones?
No.
Leo.
Leo. That said, Toru suffered more than enough, and the revival makes me think of a description of Leo I saw as to show that it happens the border between a dream and a nightmare. You never know if you're going to have all your wishes granted or lose everything and everyone. The more experimental camera tricks and special effects can add to the dream nightmare feeling, which becomes one of the things that IMO makes Leo so unforgettable. I also think Giro's revival relates to one of the central theological premises of the show about life and purpose, and foreshadows something later in a way, though this surely, as with many other things, Leo, a happy accident. Anyway, thanks for the pod. I hope you continue to savor Dan Norbush.
Yeah,
I think
thank
we
you.
will.
We will.
Yeah,
we will. We got a less high energy week this week, but that's Ultraman seasons are long. That's how it goes.
I'll still take this over Ace and Taro.
Yeah. Thank you for your email.
Thank you. Next one's from my friend Kat. Hello. Subject line.
Hello.
Oh boy, a show I've actually watched. I guess it falls to me to be the voice of. It's not that I hate this show, but I'm somewhat less of a sicko for it among the emails. Want to wait until the Jeep to write in because that really crystallizes just how hard they go with this whole direction.
Okay.
I guess for me it was like if I watch 1 or 2 episodes of it, it's like it is so melodramatic. I love it. Hugely enjoyable absurdity. Plus the whole martial arts and effects package. But to actually watch the whole show, even spaced out over time, it starts to really wear on me. Because it's so intense and so bleak, and so set on, you have to be a man. So it's too much for me. I'm not strong enough. Spiritually,
I think that's fair.
Spiritually, I'm running away from the Jeep. Can't have a single day without everyone being mad at him and also getting blasted by a pressure hose for 6 hours or whatever.
Yeah, I will say this is the first episode of this batch is where I hit my breaking point of, okay, the toxic masculinity went from, like, endearingly stupid and funny to me to, okay, no, this is just actually kind of douchey.
Yeah.
So...
It is, unfortunately, a byproduct of the era. And course-correcting, quote-unquote, really hard after Ace.
Man.
I admit I'm indeed not...
Maybe they should maybe they should have thought about Ace less. Like after it was done, just be like, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I admit I am indeed not someone hugely well schooled in Japanese Ultra, so maybe some of it might be lack of context. But I have seen multiple other Showa seasons, so I'm not totally out of my depth, and Leo is still memorable. I'm sure glad they made it so we can all laugh about it. The actual experience watching it is not the most fun I've had. I do find it funny how this OP is apparently the placeholder, and they threw together... apparently the placeholder they threw together because the real one wasn't ready yet, which we finally do get. Spoilers, the placeholder is much better.
The placeholder's really good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm a fan of this opening. I like it when it plays in the show. I'm like, yeah, hype. Action.
Yeah.
Kill the alien.
The
That's,
Ultraman Promise.
The Ultraman
There
Promise.
was... Brad... Well, I posted in the chat, and then Brad got mad and court retweeted it. But of, like, the discourse of, like... the Godzilla fan being like, Ultraman just kills aliens a lot, and then Ultraman fans scoffing like, oh, you haven't really watched Ultraman. You don't know that Ultraman's about, like, tenderness and stuff. And the
Ultraman is not about tenderness.
He only doesn't kill the alien when it's like, he only doesn't kill them when, is the last option.
It is...
Huh? Nah, this is revision. This is revisionism on a scale like never seen before.
People love to accept at face value what the shows say about themselves all the time.
Like, we
Please,
discovered
people.
last season that they purposefully course corrected from kill on sight if they're not doing anything wrong, and we're still like,
we
had this episode this week.
We're still
like it's like so blatantly like brazenly so if you watch these shows that there are people making them that are disagreeing with each other very heavily and have very strong opinions about this. It's frustrating. I shouldn't have interacted.
Well,
but
you know what? You didn't get any on your ass the way I apparently did when I commented the damn there's so many 50 episode shows in my backlog, and people took that to mean that I'm a seasonal anime enjoyer. But
oh yeah,
people gotta read. People did. The people
Twitter
posting that
horrible.
is like did not read.
they did not.
I'm gonna be real. The people left on Twitter are the people who are like, oh, fucking you hate pancake. Like, it's that.
Yeah.
All of those people are the ones left on Twitter right now.
It really is like
insufferable.
If people looked at my bio for 2 seconds, they'd realize like I am in those minds more than anyone else.
Yeah.
The I think the favorite one I already mentioned to you, Mel, was the one that was talking about like, I'm gonna sit you down and make you watch all 50 episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam. What do you say?
Yeah, all
50
50?
All 50
All
of
50
those?
of them?
You sitting on 7 hit secret episodes of Gundam? I think I know who the poser is here. I don't.
None of those guys can claim to be one of the Boyage boys. The Flitheads coming to the club.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they, The flip posting will commence. It was very soon.
Yeah,
it's like 2 weeks.
I think in the 1 or 2 weeks they're crossing over to new gen, so it's like, oh man, we can begin.
We can begin.
Anyway, just gonna finish this email out. Last, I also enjoyed the Save the World's beta weekend. I've not played another Fatal Fury game, but I have enough fighting games, stick with friends. It was fun to jump in with them. I spent basically a whole weekend playing as the scientist kickboxer girl with the insane bludgeoning quote you mentioned. It was a good time. From Kat.
That win quote is amazing. She
Suffering.
apologizes for being insane. It's like, I'm sorry. That was I can't believe I said that. Big fan.
See,
all right, well, thank you for your email.
My brain course corrected to the suffering trickles down to the. I can't get that one out of my head.
Yeah. Is that all the emails?
Yeah, a bit of a lower email.
All right.
So I guess didn't get to us.
That is, he has to take a break.
Yeah.
We can't encourage him. You gotta relax sometimes.
Yeah.
So that is us this week. If you want to follow us online, you can find us after we've already been quite dismissive about Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at ultra_q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. On Blue Sky, we are just at ultra_QUEUE, no underscore on Blue Sky. In the rare instance, I imply myself, I'm on Blue Sky. I'm at Red November. I think that's what I am. Yeah, I'm at Red November. That's it.
Yeah.
Mel.
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Dear Crowns. You can send an email to altqpod@gmail.com. We have a coffee, AltQ Fund. I think in like 2 weeks, we're going to record the next Gamer episode. So I guess, if you emails for that, send them in. That's Gamer vs. Gauss, the third movie. Give the subject line. Aiming to record that on the anniversary date of that movie, so that'll be fun. And yeah, I think presumably I might set the second episode to just come out on that day, just so you know. Hopefully we can get back on schedule. Anyway, Brad.
Yeah, you can find me at Be Invoked on Blue Sky, Be _ Invoked on Twitter, and yeah, I'm around.
All right, sick. Next week we will be watching 3 more episodes of Ultraman Leo. Hoping for a little more energy, but now we got an idea of what mid looks like.
I guess we're finishing the first core next week. Quarter of the way through.
Oh Jesus! 3 episodes a week is so quickly.
Yeah,
it is.
It's nice. It's good pace.
It's yeah. It was a wise choice. Between 2 and 4, we'd be dead. I'd be dead.
Yeah. We get through faster, but 2, we also die every week more.
2 is there's just not enough podcast.
I would die if we... 2 means 6 months of Ace, and I would have died.
Yeah, same.
Even the shows I like, I'm I don't want to be here for half a year.
Yeah, we should do 2.5 episodes next season.
I think
you get to that 13-minute mark and you pause that bad boy and you come back to it next week.
I think I should give you 2.5 legs. Wait.
What? No. I don't want one.
It needs to work out.
What am I gonna do with that?
Well, that's your problem.
Next week.
Also, what half of the leg am I getting? The thigh or the calf? Is there a foot on that?
Sorry, those are the 2 bits of... There's nothing in between?
No.
I see.
I don't have joints.
I didn't.
I'm like an SCP creature.
I did not think this analogy through, but regardless.
All right. Next week, 3 more episodes of Leo. I'll see you there. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Later.
See